Okay, perfect. Well, thank you everyone for joining. Welcome to our October Atlas Answers. Thanks for joining us on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Um, so today we're going to be talking about AAC, or Augmentative and Alternative Communication. I wanted to highlight that we have our slides available to view. If you scan that QR code that's here on this first slide here, you can also type that bit.ly link into your browser and then view the slides. And that link will be on each of the rest of the slides too. I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Rain Sims. I am one of the assistive technology specialists with the Atlas project. I'm also joined today by Carrie Bridges, our Atlas program manager, Clarice Nolan, one of our other assistive technology specialists here at Atlas, and I also see Erin, our lending library lead, is on the call as well. So we are doing these monthly sessions to provide some information about assistive technology, how we can support educators in Indiana. And then also have some time for questions and answers. So I will pass it over to Clarice, who's going to tell us all about AAC today.
Perfect. Thanks, Rain. Yeah, and so as Rain mentioned, I'm Clarice Nolan. I am one of the assistive technology specialists here with the Atlas project, but I am a speech pathologist by trade. So I'm really excited to talk about AAC during AAC Awareness Month here for October. So to get started, we are going to just do a quick introduction of our services, talk about what AAC is and different options available from our lending library to loan, and some quick tips for implementation before we get to our question and answer session. So our Atlas project offers at no cost all of our services, whether that is technical assistance to help kind of brainstorm what technology or assistive technology rather might meet the students' needs best, some equipment demonstrations, trainings, just like we are hosting today, in more depth, as well as the ability to borrow equipment from our lending library. So this just kind of outlines the difference between our technical assistance and our equipment loan process. So if you don't need assistance with the individual devices themselves, then you can just request that from our lending library. So that would be the equipment loan. If you needed some more assistance with it, then one of our assistive technology specialists will come out, show you how to set that up, help you brainstorm what may work best for your student and help meet those needs. So today we're here to talk about AAC. So what is AAC? As Rain said in the title slide as well, it stands for Augmentative and Alternative Communication, but I'd like to break down what those each mean a little bit more. So talking about augmentative forms of communication are going to be those that help to support or enhance communication in general so that others have a better understanding of what that message is that you're trying to convey. Versus an alternative form of communication might be when one's speech or communication in general cannot be easily understood. So we might need to find a completely different means of communication. So then that message is able to be more clearly communicated. So thinking about the difference between augmentative and alternative, many of these different AAC types that we're going to be talking about today could fall into either of those categories, but wanting to define a little bit more of what that means. So, like I said, there are a lot of different types of AAC, and we'll talk about some today. And most can be categorized into these three realms, whether it's low or no tech AAC, that mid tech range, or that high tech. Whether you realized it or not, and I am using it right now, we use low tech or no tech AAC every single day. That is body language, your gestures, your facial expressions. And those are examples of those augmentative forms of communication because they're enhancing the message that you are trying to say. My hands are talking big underneath of the camera right here, but that is a form of AAC. Use of visuals. So if you're pointing to a visual core board, then that is a low tech form of AAC as well. There is some mixed use of mid-tech AAC versus high-tech. Some loop them all into high-tech. I did go ahead and differentiate that mid-tech range, just because I feel like it is kind of easier to think about that no tech versus mid versus high. So that mid-tech, the difference would be those items that use a battery. They might be able to record and play messages, but they're a less sophisticated use of technology. And we'll go through some examples of those here in a little bit. But then those high-tech AAC options are those that might hold a charge or have a screen and have more of that sophisticated software and technology behind it to have a more robust communication availability. So here are some low-tech AAC options, not only that we provide and have available through our lending library, but just to get your mind going on what are some options for within the classroom of low and no tech AAC options. So like I said before, using your gestures, using your body language, using your facial expressions are all of those low tech, no tech forms of AAC as well. But these are just available in our library to loan. So core communication boards or communication booklets are great ways to show and demonstrate, again, not needing any batteries. They can be laminated, they can be taken a lot of different places, and they're pretty durable. But all of those are available. As you can see on the right-hand side of the screen, we have a clear iTalk board that different visuals can go on there. So then the communication partner can see where you're looking and know that is what you're trying to communicate in that same situation. One downside to these low-tech options are it is very communication partner based. You have to really rely on your communication partner to be there, to be paying attention when you're pointing to the message that you're communicating. But again, they are affordable, pretty low cost options in and ways to be able to support and augment that communication to help facilitate that language. We also have tangible object cards in our library, which are featured at the bottom left of the screen, as well as core vocabulary symbols that are 3D printed, and those also have Braille on them as well. So those are a great option for our students who might be visually impaired and would have that tactile feedback to be able to use those as low-tech AAC communication options. Here are some featured mid-tech options I wanted to talk about today. And the two at the top on the left and the middle top row are kind of a great bridge from going from those low-tech AAC options to a mid-tech because you still have those tangible object cards that you are going to use to activate another form of communication. So the Logan Prox Talker and the Logan Prox Pad are what those two at the top are showing. And those are those tangible objects that you can place onto the Prox Pad or place onto the Prox Talker, and it will communicate that message. So you're starting to build those sentences together, or you're starting to make that connection that when I use this action, then this is how that message is activated, which is a really great way to kind of bridge that low tech into that mid tech AAC realm. Other examples of mid tech AAC options that are also available in our library are communicator buttons. We have a variety of sizes from the Little Mac to the Big Mac communicator. There are single message buttons. There are multi-step message buttons so you can build routines or again, a your turn, my turn message for those types of routines as well as some sensory buttons that you can see on that bottom row there with all of the colors that have that sensory input, and they can each represent a different message. On that bottom row, from left to right, we have the Super Talker, the Go Talk, and the Quick Talker, and all of those are also great, pretty sturdy mid-tech options that It's still battery operated. You still have to record the message for the buttons. But it's starting again to bridge that concept and communication to that high-tech level AAC that we'll talk about here in a little bit, where each message is individually programmed with a symbol corresponding to it. And these are some of our high-tech options. So when we're thinking about high-tech, we are thinking about dedicated communication devices, iPads with communication apps on them, or even our eye gaze devices. So across the top row, those are different companies' brands of the AAC dedicated devices. And when we say dedicated device, what we mean by that is this device is specific to a communication system and primarily is being used as that communication system without access to other things as a computer as a whole. Versus an iPad with a communication app has that option, but you're still able to access the entire device as an iPad and search the internet and things like that. So down there on the left-hand corner are just some screenshots of the apps, some of the apps that we have available in our library. Something really cool about our library itself, as far as our app selection, is if you borrow an iPad from us, then you are able to trial any and all of these apps to see what fits best. So these are just some examples of some of the apps that are available in our library, including LAMP Words for Life, Proloquo to Go, Touch Chat, TD Snap,